So this is going to be a fun video. I don't know why, but I've been feeling kind of Christmas and in the summer vibes recently. And no, I'm not that into, I don't like celebrating Christmas, but there's something Masonic about the idea of when people celebrate Christmas in the middle of summer. Uh, just something Masonic about that idea, and I've been getting those vibes recently. And so this is going to be a video. Somebody actually sent me an email asking for one of my old videos where I told a story about a penis pump. And so I'll say that story again in this video. And what this video is going to be about, I'm going to describe a family that I knew growing up who now that I know about conspiracy stuff and I've learned things about Freemasonry, I know that this family is a Freemasonic family. They just exemplify a Freemason family. And so maybe you know families like this. And what this has to do with just truths that have been revealed over these past years of looking at a conspiracy is that the way that this place operates is that there's levels, and there's certain people that they know that everything is fake, but they go along with it. There's an aspect of the flash mob, and something that I like to think of is learning the secret to how hypnotism shows work. The way that hypnotism shows work is that there's always going to be people around who are willing to just go along with the show. And that's also how this reality works, that there's always people ready and willing to just blatantly lie and gaslight anybody who's not in the club to have the show continue on. And they know it's fake, but they love just going along with it. And these Freemasonic families would certainly be a part of the people who know. People who know that everything in school is basically BS, but they send their children anyways, and I'm sure when they come home and say, "Son, what did you learn today at school?" They're like, "Oh, that BS." I'm sure that's the first thing that comes out of their mouth. So, yeah, the reason I have the Christmas tree here, I guess I'll just start in, and I'll just start listing off things about this family that I now know, oh, that's like the way Masons operate. I guess just one thing, the most blatantly obvious thing is that they are liars. Habitual liars, pathological liars. Have you ever known people that will lie about totally inconsequential things? Something that I always bring up, whenever habitual liars get brought up, my mind immediately goes to the son in this family that I would hang out with. And this one specific instance, I remember getting in his car and seeing, let's say I saw Burger King trash on the ground, and I was like, "Oh, you had Burger King for lunch?" And he was like, "No, I had McDonald's." That is the depth of the types of lies that these people will say. It's totally inconsequential. I see the Burger King trash on the ground. I could tell it was fresh stuff. And there's no McDonald's trash anywhere. And I ask him, "Oh, you just had Burger King?" "No, I just had McDonald's." And it's like, the evidence is right there in front of you. And yeah, pathological, the lies. That was just one among many things that this person would lie about, and the evidence would be just right there, and they would pretend like it's not. So another thing that now I know is just very in the club is that this person would have, so I was good friends with this person and they lived on the same street as me, but they always had their own group of friends that never really mixed with me. And if we were around one another, obvious preferences for those other friends to the point of snubbing me. And the way that these people out in the open, keep secrets and won't let you in on it is very childish, but they'll continue that on. And I remember that this person was just relentless about never letting me in on inside jokes. And even though we were supposed to be good friends, it was just a thing that he really liked having these inside jokes And even if I would figure them out through context, he would just continue to deny that I had figured it out. That's a way that these people are. It's like they have their super secret friend club and they purposefully make you feel like you're not in it and exclude you out of it. It's not normal human behavior. The pathological lying is not normal behavior, and big red flags for these Masonic people. So here I'll tell an instance of psyops. So honestly, the funniest person I ever met in my life was my friend's sister. She was hilarious. And I didn't know at the time, but we would go driving around basically pulling psyops on people. Small, just little things. Probably a stretch to even call them psyops, but one thing that she would do, we'd go to, say, Target parking lot, open up the window and find somebody and say, where's Payless? How do I get to Payless? And as the person starts describing directions, she would repeat back the directions, but totally wrong, but just pretending to be serious. So they'd say, oh, well, you got to turn around first. And she'd say, oh, so I got to keep going forward and then to the right, so she was just having fun, playing serious, but just totally, lying, of course, but pretending to not know what she's talking about. And another story very similar to that is, I remember this person stopping their car at a red light and turning on the hazards and opening up the hood and pretending to be having car troubles, even though the car was running perfectly fine. But she just got a kick out of being crazy like that. And I would now consider that a psyop, where somebody is doing some sort of crazy thing, but none of it's real at all. It's just all being made up. I went to the store and this lady was asking me for directions and she was not understanding anything. That poor lady was like brain dead. Oh, she was just acting. The whole idea of being an actor in real life is just very Masonic. Think of, like I said, flash mobs. It's the same energy of being a part of a flash mob. Oh, what's this wacky, crazy thing happening? Oh, it was a planned event with these people who knew ahead of time. So yeah, she got a kick out of, I'm going to pretend my car broke down at this intersection. And that's potentially dangerous, obviously. But there you go. Sometimes, have you ever been in a real life situation where some wild stuff is going down and it all feels really weird? And you're like, is this even real life right now? It totally could have been a made up Masonic event. I'm going to keep it to this family in this video, but I've had personal events outside of this family that I now believe that it was just some sort of orchestrated event, because the whole time it didn't feel real and none of the details made sense. These people exist out there that get off on just doing weird stuff because they think it's funny. So I guess I'll tell some of the lies. These people would tell all sorts of lies. The dad loved to tell dad joke type lies. Oh, waves are made from whales jumping in the ocean. I remember he liked to play word game, alliteration games, weird memorization games that now seem very Masonic to me. With like repeat, he would say something and you'd have to say it back. This guy was their dad. So this is my friend's dad. Very charismatic. Seemed like he knew people. These people didn't live extravagantly, but you feel like the dad knew everybody, kind of thing. And very friendly guy. And probably a Freemason, but I don't know. Not all of these people that know and play the game well, they don't have to be a part of Freemasonry, but they certainly know about it. But this guy probably was a Freemason. I don't know. I haven't seen him in a long time. And I didn't used to pay attention to stuff like that. So yeah, I remember just being told all sorts of lies and kind of trying to spook you lies too. Do you know people growing up that would tell, how is this kind of thing ubiquitous, that everybody grew up being told all sorts of spooky tales by, why isn't there anywhere on earth where it's like people are truthful and don't make up stupid stories to try to spook you? And I long for the days where that's not a part of the tradition. Hazing, and this is all Masonic ideas the hazing and the making up spook stories. So to get to the point, I remember them making up, this was when the AIDS epidemic was going on. They said that, oh, did you know people are like stabbing themselves with a needle and then sticking it in a movie theater? They come up with demented. How do you even come up with that idea? That AIDS needles are sticking in movie theater seats. Wacky. But I remember them trying to tell me that over and over to try to scare me of going to the movies or something. It was strange. Stuck with me. I feel like I've got most of it. One more thing before I get to the penis pump story is that I find very interesting is the teen pregnancy thing. I'm sure that a lot of you who learned about transvestigation and stuff kind of scratched your heads at certain people who get pregnant as a teenager, and you're like, how did that happen? Because you don't look like somebody who could get naturally pregnant. And of course, the stories that they get knocked up. So I think that some of these people are selected by either if they're a part of some sort of Baphomet organization or Freemasonry, I don't know. But oftentimes it's for the troubled kids, and I think it's part of like a plea deal. I think it's like you either pretend to get knocked up or you're going to juvie. I think that's the kind of situation where they'll pair two of these troubled bapho children together, and they'll say, well, you guys are going to have a baby together. And I really think that happens. And so I'm just saying that because somebody in this family had a child really young, and I'm almost certain that that's the situation that it was like almost a punishment or like a shame thing to their family. Like, your kid screwed up, so now they got selected for the teen pregnancy lottery. I don't know. Maybe you guys have stories about some suspicious teen pregnancies and strange situations regarding how it happens. But I know that usually these types of girls don't actually get pregnant. There's all sorts of quote-unquote women out there that will swear up and down that they've had 15 abortions, but they actually can't get pregnant at all. And that's part of that going along with the fake it till you make it. They'll just lie. They are liars. And if they've had 15 abortions, that means that they're a fertile woman, right? So anyways, I'll say the Christmas tree thing, and then I'll do the final story. So the reason that I have the Christmas tree here is because, I don't know, for whatever reason, I've been getting weird Christmas in July type feelings recently. I don't know what that means, but I think maybe just part of time going wacky. Time has been going so wacky. Years have lost meaning at this point. People have a general feeling that like the years between 2020 and 2022 just didn't exist. What happened? Anyways, the Christmas tree thing. One thing, this kind of goes back to, I feel like the dad knew people. Because I don't get a feeling that he was paying money for these Christmas. Where do you even get a Christmas tree that's so ginormous? So they had a 2-story house, modest living, nothing crazy, but a 2-story house with like vaulted, one section of their house had 2-story ceilings. And every year they would fit this ginormous Christmas tree in their house. And it's like, where do you even get? I don't even know where you would get a Christmas tree like that, especially in California. Now that I live in Oregon, okay, maybe, but it just always amazed me that these people would get the most ginormous Christmas tree, and it's like they knew somebody. It's like their dad did favors for somebody, and their favor back to them was to get them a giant Christmas tree every year. I don't know. It was weird because it just appeared in their house one day, and they never really talked to me about how they got it, so it's just one of those things. There's some mystery to it that feels very like a freemasonic family. Anyways, let's get to the final story. One day I was hanging out with my friend, and he took me into his brother's room, like, hey, come look at my brother's room. And I remember it was up in the top left corner of the closet. He opened up the closet and was like, hey, look at this. And back then I thought that it was some sort of like smoking device. But then, so he pulled it out, and now I know that it was actually a penis pump. And at the time, his older brother was like 16 years old. So just the whole situation seems so weird to me. I was, well, at the time, I really thought that he was showing me his brother's like bong or something. And I was like, okay, this is weird. But nowadays, the whole situation is just so bizarre to me. Where in the 90s, where does a 16-year-old get a penis pump? And the sexualization of these people, they really do push their Martin and castrati. Well, castrati, they don't really tell them to go be promiscuous, but for sure the Martins, they get pushed to go, you know, be a man or whatever. I just think it's weird. Where did this 16-year-old get a penis pump? I feel like an adult would have to get them for that. And also, it just reminds me of the way that they will give them like extra hormones in their teen years. It's all just weird, strangeness. But it actually reminds me of, this is something, maybe I'll have to show it in a video or something. This was happening back in King James time. King James wrote a book on demonology, and I was reading in that book, and it mentions in the book, the demonology book, about witches who had ways of making men unable to be like a man, basically things that would chemically castrate men. And it talked about them having ways of making men have much more manliness. And so clearly, even back in King James time, people were messing with the hormones, and it's a huge aspect today of these families. The ones in the know, the way that you can tell the levels, you can usually tell the ones who know about stuff. And there is a level where, okay, now they start plastic surgery and hormone supplements are just a standard part. That's like a higher level. The caste system is still alive and well, and they're quiet about it. Anyways, that was it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. God bless everyone.